Members, may I invite members to join me in the opening prayer, please? Almighty God, the source of knowledge and understanding, guide the minds of those who are about to take counsel together on matters concerning this county, that in their debate and in their decisions, they may faithfully discharge the duties of their office and promote the health, safety and well-being of those they seek to serve. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Fellow councillors, officers and members of the public who are listening in via the Zoom webcast, welcome to our council meeting this evening. Before we get to the agenda proper, I'd like to remind members to please ensure your microphone is switched on for the benefit of the webcast and recording. We'll now go on to the agenda proper. Apologies, please.
Chairman, we received apologies from councillors Cross, Walters, Webb and Wilson. Therefore, councillors voted to 23.
Thank you. So we'll, 23 tonight. Chairman's announcements. I've only just literally got off the rostrum about half an hour ago, so I've only just been told about the sad news. So I haven't got anything prepared. Tom's done it for me at the moment. I'll do it for the next council. I am sad to announce to members that my former colleague as ward member for Oakham North East, Captain Vijay Dige, has sadly passed away peacefully on the 4th of September in Ayrsham, surrounded by his family. Vijay served as a councillor from 2003 to 2011 and was also chairman of the council from 2005 to 2007 and also served as mayor of Oakham. I'm sure all members will want to join me in sending condolences to Vijay's family. He's a very good companion on my ward, and I take some fond memories with me from knowing him. He was a really nice man. Since the last meeting of the council on the 4th of July, I and the vice chairman have attended civil engagements as follows: the High Sheriff's Evening Osprey Cruise at Rutland Water, where we did see 4 baby ospreys sitting on a branch together, which was quite nice. Although it was blowing a gale, the next night was a wonderful night, apparently. There's something telling me something somewhere. Chairman of Leicestershire's County Council summer reception at Bow Manor Hall. That was a really nice evening. And Rocks by Rail Conflict Remembrance Day in Cottesmore. We've also agreed to a request to cancel the October meeting of council as there are no expected business for consideration. This date and time will instead be used for an all-member session on progress with the local plan to inform later stages in its production. Further details will be sent to members in due course. Item 3, announcements from leader members of the Cabinet. Councillor Stevenson.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm going to announce this evening, and there will be more details coming in the next couple of weeks, the Multum Awards. Members will obviously know that we've put forward Future Rutland. At the time of presenting that, I made it really, really clear that that wasn't a vision for the council, but a vision for the whole county in which the council plays a part. The Multum Awards will be about 8 awards with 4 categories, focusing on the Future Rutland themes: a special place, sustainable lives, healthy and well, a county for everyone. The aim of these awards is to celebrate volunteers, individuals who give of their time freely. You will receive lots of details about that, and I really hope members will help me and officers make sure that we spread the word. So on the 3rd of December, when we make the awards, we will have a really tough job picking the winners, because I hope you agree that even if we disagree, this county is made special because of the people who live here and make wonderful things happen. And I think it's important that we celebrate that. So please look out for the Multum Awards, and I will be sending an all councillor briefing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Wilby.
Thank you, Chair. You will have seen the furore in the papers about the educational results and how they've been coming in over the last couple of weeks. I'd just like to say that our team, all our schools have done really, really well. They've Harrington starting at the top, got their best results ever. All our secondary schools are well above average. And for GCSE results, the Telegraph published an article that you may have seen saying that we were the top county in the country for grades above 5 to 9. So really good showing by our schools. And when you consider the amount of trouble and grief they've been in over the last couple of years, it really underscores the hard work of all the teachers, the governors, the parents, and of course our children. They've all done a cracking job. Whilst I'm up on my feet, the Ukraine children, we've got some 31 now in our schools. We've got them in our secondary schools and a good spread through all our junior schools. And as far as UASCs, youngsters who arrive as refugees, we've got 9 at the moment. I think that's just about to go up to 10. We're waiting for the other one to come in. They're all doing rather well. They're going into beyond secondary education. One's got a plumber's course, and they're all doing pretty well. So from the education side, good tick VG for our schools and our teachers.
Thank you. Are there any other portfolio holders? Yes, Councillor Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one thing I just wanted to highlight to members, the news that has already been announced that Rutland, together with 4 other local authorities, has been successful in obtaining just under £1 million worth of funding for the installation of local charging points for electric vehicles. And this project aims to kickstart and maximise private sector involvement. Under the bid, which is being led by Lincolnshire County Council and supported by Midlands Connect, Rutland will get 30 new charging points spread around the county, with units expected to be operational during 2023. Obviously, as a rural county, we've got a high dependency on private cars, and I'm sure members will agree that any measures that we can put in place to encourage residents to change to an electric vehicle earlier than they might otherwise have done, and thereby reduce carbon emissions, is very good news. And I'd like to record my thanks to the team who've been involved in this bid, and well done on the success of this bid. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the portfolios? No. Before we go on to item 4, Councillor Bull, I think you wanted to say something about VJ. I'm sorry.
No, I think actually, Chairman, it was partly because we were just concerned. I think you actually covered everything, of course. And the only other thing to say, of course, that I think it was right and proper that we record the passing of a great servant, not only to this council, but to Rutland as a whole. And of course, he also played a great role in Oakham Town Council, where indeed he was mayor. So I think that's quite right and fitting. But he joined in 2003, as you said, with my party. So I think you covered it. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Item 4, declarations of interest. Have we got any? No. Item 5, minutes of the previous meetings. To confirm the minutes of the meetings of Rutland County Council held on the 26th of June. We'll do them individually. Can I have a proposer and a seconder for the June minutes? Councillor Stevenson and Councillor Powell. All those in favour?
That's carried, Chairman.
Unanimous, was it? Abstentions? Sorry, yeah. 1. To confirm the July minutes, please. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Stevenson, Councillor Powell. Sorry. They're hogging it at this end, you see. Just all those in favour, please. Oh no, I can't. I wasn't here.
That is carried, Chairman.
No abstentions, because I wasn't here.
Yeah, sorry, I could see it was more than half.
That's why we did it separately. Petitions, deputations and questions from members of the public.
None received, Chairman.
Questions from members of the council. We have one question from councillor Paul Brown, which is being received this evening. Would you like to put it forward, councillor Brown, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a question to councillor Powell as portfolio holder for planning. Given that the council has passed in 2019 a climate emergency motion and has now formally adopted on the 24th of May 2022, the supplemental planning document entitled Design Guides for Rutland, where it provides at Part 2, Section B, a material planning consideration, the construction of new residential homes should be, in their words, super insulated first, be 100% powered by renewable sources in well insulated airtight buildings. The energy consumption of all houses can be met with roof mounted PV panels and or ground or air sourced heat pumps. Can the portfolio holder tell me the specific reasons for the council continuing to allow applications for residential development to go forward for approval without imposing a condition that such premises are not heated either wholly or partially by gas?
Thank you. Councillor Powell.
Thank you, councillor Brown, for your question. As you say, this council has already acknowledged the importance of reducing carbon usage in declaring a climate crisis and has set out a series of actions to make sure council activities are net zero by the year 2050. As you state, the supplementary planning document that was approved in May does include additional specific design guidance on insulation and renewable heat sources. The document sets out the approach to design solutions that should be implemented in Rutland, but it is clearly stated that this is design guidance. The supplementary planning document can be used to encourage higher standards set out in the design guide, but we cannot insist on this element. This is frustrating that this is guidance only, as I'm confident that all members will be fully supportive of any measures that could be included in the design of new houses, which would contribute to and accelerate progress towards net zero. But the only way in which this requirement can be enforced in planning applications if it's either required by national building regulations or is an adopted policy in the council's new local plan. So that is the specific reason that the council allows the applications to go forward without those conditions. So the question is, what else can we do in the meantime? There is a briefing being arranged for the planning committee on design guidelines, and I've spoken to the planning development team to stress the importance of them actively promoting and encouraging developers to apply these design guidelines in the course of pre-application discussions. I'm very clear that that's what we expect for our county.
Thank you. Do you have a supplementary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for that, councillor Powell. I would ask whether you are aware of paragraph 129 of the National NPPF, which states that the supplemental planning document is one of two vehicles it mentions as carrying weight in planning considerations. The other, of course, as you say, is the valid local plan. Therefore, it does have greater value than just recommendation and guidance. And I would ask that the council consider that further in when they address us on the question of this design guidance.
Good to come back.
Thank you for that supplementary. Can you confirm which paragraph number you're referring to?
129.
Okay. I will certainly take that on board to do a more detailed answer on that if that is what is required. I'm not a legal planning expert, but I rely on the professionalism of the team to actually give advice on that. And as I say, I've stated that the action that we can actually take and the fact that they are guidance, but I will seek further clarification on that specific point.
I'm obliged.
Thank you. Item 8, referral of committee decisions to council.
None received.
Item 9, call-in decisions from cabinet meetings during the period of 11th of April to the 4th of July.
None received, Chairman.
Thank you. Item 10, reports from the Cabinet. There's one report, isn't there?
One report this evening, Chairman.
Councillor Payne.
Thank you, Chair. This is about the council's insurance contract, which currently resides with Zurich Municipal. It's due to expire on the 31st of March 2023. This contract actually covers all the council's insurance, that's property, motor, accident and public liability, etc. It was last tendered in 2014, and to ensure we get best value for money and service, we are going back to the market through another tender process using the services of Welland Procurement and an insurance broker as a subject matter expert to assist us through the process. To ensure the procurement process runs on track, to commission a new insurance contract on the 1st of April 2023, in July this year, Cabinet agreed to delegate authority to the Strategic Director of Resources in consultation with the portfolio holder for finance to award the contract and also define the evaluation criteria, firstly taking into account the advice of the insurance broker. The delegation is requested so that we may move swiftly and adhere to the timetable in the pack that you have, as we obviously cannot allow the insurance to lapse. I would therefore be grateful if Council could support the recommendations made in the paper to give the requested authority to the Strategic Director of Resources in consultation with the portfolio holder finance to award the contract. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Stevenson. Members, any questions? No? Right, then the recommendations are that Council 1 delegates the award of the insurance services contract to the Strategic Director for Resources in consultation with the portfolio holder and responsibility for finance. 2, delegates the finalisation of the evaluation criteria to the Strategic Director of Resources in consultation with the portfolio holder, with responsibility for finance, based on the advice of the insurance broker to achieve best value, on the proviso that price is maintained at a minimum of 50%. All those in favour?
That is unanimous, Chairman.
Yeah. Thank you. Item 11, reports from committees of the council.
None that we've received, Chairman.
Item 12, reports from scrutiny.
We have 2 reports this evening, Mr. Chairman, from scrutiny. The first relating to the annual scrutiny report for 2021 to 2022.
So this is Councillor Ainsley first.
I believe so,
Yeah,
yes.
Councillor Ainsley, where are we? Oh, he's there. There we go.
I have to be honest, I wasn't expecting to speak on this, but the annual scrutiny report provides a summary of the work undertaken during 21-22. And I recommend this report to the council.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Fox. Members, any questions? No. The recommendation is that council notes the scrutiny annual report 2021-2022 and approves its publication. All in favour?
That is unanimous, I believe, Chairman.
Thank you. 12B, Councillor Waller, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. As explained in this report, the Guide to Strategic Overview and Scrutiny has been considered by both the Constitution Commission and the Strategic Overview and Scrutiny Committee, so it has been looked at quite thoroughly by various members. The aim of the document is to inform residents of scrutiny in Rutland and be a guide to members to help us use the scrutiny process as efficiently and effectively as possible. And I request that you actually support this document. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor McCartney. Members. Councillor Hemsley.
Thank you very much, Chair. I've read the report and I've read the various links that are connected to it. And I would ask that maybe the Scrutiny Commission look at it, and also the Constitution Group, to actually just tie up the ends, because it's quite scruffy and there's some misleading words in there. So I would ask that maybe there's just one read through of the whole thing before it gets published. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, there's just one thing from me at 7.1. Just a little bit of housekeeping. It mentions the Children and Young People's Partnership in that. That's a subgroup of the Health and Wellbeing Board, but it doesn't mention the other subgroup of the Health and Wellbeing Board. So I just wondered, governance-wise, whether it would be worth, it calls that a partnership, but do we want to include the Integrated Delivery Group, which is the other main subgroup of Health and Wellbeing Board, into that, or are they both held under the Health and Wellbeing Board banner?
Thank you for that. The list in 7.1 is a list of examples of potentials. It does actually say such as, which indicates it's not exhaustive, but I'm sure that the Constitution Commission will take advice from the legal officer on that before publication. I haven't got a view either way, personally.
Thank you. Anybody else? The recommendation is that council notes the guide to strategic overview and scrutiny and approves its publication. All in favour?
21, Chairman.
Yeah. Abstentions? 2.
Apologies, that would have been 20 in favour then, Chairman. That is carried.
Yeah. It's 21 vote for, 2 abstentions, so that's carried. Item 13, joint arrangements and external organisations. Shall we go around the table? Anybody got anything? Councillor Ainsley.
Thank you, Chair. I thought it might be useful to deliver a brief verbal summary of the Council's Armed Forces team's activities since the last council meeting. The team are working harder to engage with veterans and families, as well as the serving members of the armed forces, to offer practical assistance, all of course at little or no cost. On Wednesday of this week, Ian Reynolds, our Armed Forces officer, and myself will be visiting No. 1 Military Dog Working Dogs Regiment at Luffenham to better understand how we might deliver practical assistance to the serving members of the regiment, but with a particular emphasis on the junior soldiers and their families. On Wednesday, the 17th of August, we made a visit to Her Majesty's Prison Stocken to meet 2 prisoners who, as veterans, are championing the approximately 50 veterans held in the prison. Baz and Pete deliver information days and advice sessions to the veterans prisoners group under the guidance of Lindsay Beadnell, the Prison Equality Officer. Baz and Pete are enthusiastically embracing the preparations for Memorial Sunday, and we are hopeful that the veterans group will be able to participate in the act of remembrance in Oakham with a display of approximately 1,000 poppies made by the inmates. More about this later. Last Friday, we visited the Loughborough Wellbeing Hub at one of the veteran-specific wellbeing sessions. The Leicestershire, Leicester and Rutland Veterans Wellbeing Hub is funded by the Armed Forces Covenant Fund with the aim of offering advice and support and guidance. We met with Councillor Rami Mahal, the Harbour District Council Armed Forces Champion, Brendan Daly, who is the Armed Forces Lead for the LLR NHS Trust, and Helen Carter, the Chief Executive Officer of Loughborough Wellbeing Centre. We will continue to work actively with Councillor Rami, Helen and Brendan as we seek to establish satellite hubs for Lutterworth and Oakham. The initial wellbeing sessions in Oakham will be held in rooms kindly made available by the Whipper Inn. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Whipper Inn for their very generous support. We are actively seeking premises as the rooms that the whip are in are only available for the next few months. All ideas and offers welcome. A flag raising ceremony to commemorate all those who worked at sea, both past and present, was held outside Oakham Castle last Saturday to mark Merchant Navy Day. It's important that we recognise the sacrifices and dedication of those brave and often unsung people within the Merchant Navy community. And it was my honour to attend the flag raising event, and we were particularly pleased to see so many residents come out and show their support. Earlier this afternoon, we held the inaugural meeting of the Armed Forces Covenant Project Board. Covenant legislation guidance is now published and likely to come into legal force in the autumn. The board will ensure that we are adhering to the legislation as we move from guidance to a more formal legal obligation. Over the next few months, we will be providing a written brief on the obligations we expect to have to follow with the introduction of the new covenant legislation. And in the interest of consistency and in summary, what follows is a précis of our obligations under the current covenant. Our armed forces fulfill the responsibility for defence of the realm on behalf of the government. They sacrifice some civilian freedoms, facing danger and sometimes suffering serious injury or death as a result of their duty. In return, we have a moral, soon to be legal obligation to the members of the Naval Service, the Army, and the Royal Air Force together with their families. Those who serve or have served in the armed forces should face no disadvantage compared to other citizens in the provision of public and commercial services. It is important to remember that the covenant does not seek to give advantage, but rather to ensure a level playing field. However, special consideration is appropriate, and in some cases, especially for those who have given most, such as the injured and the bereaved. It is my honour to work to support our armed forces and veterans community, and to recognise the contribution that our armed forces community make to our businesses, our county, and our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Boole.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Just really this evening, just a very brief verbal report on the CFA. It is, of course, the summer months, so things have been somewhat quiet. But to make up for that, I have 3 meetings starting next week in the next 2 weeks. But I would say, make mention of the special evening a few weeks ago that we had for council members held at the Oakham station. And I am aware that 1 or 2 members who would have liked to arrive had COVID and whatever, but I think those members that experienced the Hazard Express and the virtual experience have just about got over that. But that is we have a really special message to take, particularly not that our councillors are not young in spirit, but it is particularly aimed at taking to the younger people. And in fact, we are taking that show to Casterton in October, where we are hoping to have about 100 young people there, because, and again, we will have the Hazard Express and the virtual experience, because that is what really impacts on them for safety on the road as they take up driving motorcycles and cars, etc. So that is quite special. A couple of weeks or so ago, the Oakham station hosted on a Saturday a special afternoon for all the residents here from Ukraine. It was very much a hospitality occasion, but they also took the opportunity to talk through the safety measures that we have in this country and how we respond, etc. So that was again particularly well received, Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, etc. attending. And then this Friday, which is a national day, it's 999 Emergency Services Day. It's always held on the 9th of September. It's the 9th hour 9th day of the 9th month. And that really looks back to 7,500 people in the emergency services who have lost their lives over past years. And that will be taking place again, hosted by the Oakham Fire Station. So the CFA in this county is really playing a real role. And if any members want to come to that, it starts at 8:45. It will take 1 hour maximum. Thank you, Chairman.
Just before we go on, could I just echo Councillor Bull's report on the open evening we all attended. It gave us food for thought, and they gave us food as well. And they did themselves proud. They did us proud. And I'd like it recorded, our thanks to the fire authority for sorting it all out. It went very well, very efficiently. If we were lagging behind, you soon got pushed on to make sure that everybody got a taste of what was coming. But it was a very interesting evening, I'll put it that way. But when you go into these what do you call them, machines? Yeah, virtual reality machines. It makes you think when you've seen that, what's round the corner, and the way they actually perform with the ambulance and the police is absolutely brilliant. And then they had the fire at the top of the hotel, and we all think they just get out the fire engine and spray it with water, but what they have to do before they can do that is quite considerable. And it was a very well spent evening. Thank you very much for organising it, Ken.
Thank you, if I may, Chairman, just to say, yes, I have in fact sent fulsome thanks on behalf of the council already in anticipation of your words. And you've just sparked me into saying one other thing. Officers have been over in Germany this week to approve the new high-rise platform that is coming here. It will go up about 70 meters, and I will be organising it in the car park for those members that would like to experience firefighting from on high. That's partly facetious because you really have to be trained somewhat for that. But thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Baines will come round. Sorry.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Chairman. Since the last meeting of the council, I've attended the board meeting of the trustees of the Rural Community Council. I'm delighted to say they moved into Rutland, and as the two Normanton members will be aware, the very splendid restored South Luffenham Village Hall was our venue. And that leads me on to the main business of the meeting. There was a radical overhaul of the Constitution, and the proposal was that the 3 local authority members no longer had a nomination right, as it were, in respect of their position. At present, there is a Leicestershire representative, a Rutland representative, and a Leicestershire district representative. And it was felt that the district thing was becoming redundant, shall we say, and certainly in my time in the past 2 or 3 years, even pre-COVID, I don't think I'd seen one. However, we debated long and hard, and I'm pleased to say that both Leicestershire and Rutland do retain the right to nomination. And I think it is very important, given the emphasis on issues that do affect Rutland. Coffee Connect is one of the things that they bring out into Rutland, and there have been other things in the past. So it is the status quo, but it was rather pleasant to sit there and receive positive feedback on the contribution that Rutland, as the smallest of the partners, if you like, can still make. And the other meeting that I should have attended was on the 31st of August, but I had an unalterable previous commitment. That was the Wethern Riven Partnership. I have been asked if I would join a working party to look at community engagement on that. And again, as I've said before in this chamber, anyone who particularly represents a ward contiguous to the Welland, or indeed part of the Gwash or the Chaytor catchment. I'll be very pleased to hear your views. And picking up on Councillor Paul Brown's point earlier, it is part of a jigsaw where we can make a difference environmentally. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Chair. Just to let everyone know, 2 weeks ago, I attended the Integrated Care Partnership inaugural meeting. That is the board that sits between the Integrated Care Board and the Health and Wellbeing boards in the system of health. Within LLR, it's been renamed as the LLR Health and Wellbeing Partnership. The membership has been extended slightly and will now include our Director of Adult Services and our Director of Children's Services, as well as Health Watch and the Directors of Public Health for each of the places, the 3 places. The next meeting is at the end of the month. I will also say the Integrated Care Board is due to have its first meet the public session on Thursday, I think it is, just looking at Mark for confirmation. It is Thursday, isn't it? It is Thursday. I think it's still open for people to ask if they want to attend. If anyone does want to attend, if you have a quick word, I can send you that link. It is Monday afternoon, I think, the meet the public part of it, so I can do that, and obviously residents are also welcome to attend. It has been publicised separately by the Integrated Care Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Oxley.
Thank you, Chairman. Before I begin, actually, I'd like to pay tribute in my own way to Councillor VJ Digay, because I served with him on this council when he was chair, and his smile.
That's right.
So
cheeky smile.
For sure, and it's Captain VJ Digay, because he was a captain in the Indian Air Force.
Yeah.
But on another matter, I sit on the Police and Crime Commissioners Scrutiny Board, and I recently visited Glenfield council offices, where we had a demonstration of the police specialist teams. The firearms team were there, as well as the specialist rescue team and the drones. And we had a demonstration of drones, which was extraordinary. I mean, the images that they can pick up from a very long way away, they could see the details of it on our faces. So I came away from that meeting reassured that we are in safe hands with the specialist team. I'm also a member of the Section 106 working group, which is looking at Section 106 funds, which have been allocated for community safety across the LLR, across Leicestershire, Leicester and Rutland. And working with my colleagues on that board, we have been able to come to a satisfactory conclusion. I think they thanked me for my contributions. I've been on the planning committee for a very long time, so I was able to give them a lot of background information. But there's a lot of good work going on at the PCC's office. So, and I will continue to give my reports to this council as a member. Thank you.
Thank you. Have I missed anybody? No. Item 14, notice of motion.
None received, Chairman.
I have not any urgent business. I've not been made aware of any urgent business for consideration. And the next meeting will be on the 7th of November. With that, I'll conclude the meeting at 7:38. 7 minutes early.